Aloha, and welcome to this special video edition of It's About Time. I'm your host and Cosmic Skywatcher, Randy Bruner, also known as Cosmic Hand. Today we're doing a continuation of information that we put out earlier about the collapse of the Earth's electromagnetic field. That was an event that occurred on April 23rd at 5:27 Universal Time, but here in Hawaii it was 7:37 p.m. the previous day, April 22nd, or better known as Earth Day. So this was a pulse from outside our solar system that we received on Earth Day. And so we're going to talk more about the astrological implications of this, what was going on within the solar system when this pulse came from outside the solar system. You can refer to one of our other videos for the information on the pulse itself. But we're going to start by looking at the information that came from NASA. These are NASA satellite data from the sunspot satellites, solar wind satellites. And the sun is here. You can see the lines here. That's the solar wind lines. This is our electromagnetic field. These are the field lines. At the time of the event, you can see that the flow lines are going completely the opposite direction. And the Earth's electromagnetic field is basically canceled out at that time. And the point there was that it was being canceled out so that we could receive this input from outside the galaxy, outside the solar system. Possibly from the galaxy, but at least from outside of our solar system in the opposite direction of the sun. And so this is a momentous event. Okay, this is a time in our evolution here on the planet. And so to get more into that, we're going to look at the astrology and look a little more in depth than what we looked at in the previous video. We have here the astrology for the event. And we talked earlier about the Sun, Venus, and Uranus. All they're working together. Venus and Uranus are at 21 degrees exactly conjunct at the time that the pulse came in. The other aspect that I want to point out too is that the moon, the night before this event, the moon was exactly opposite the sun. That was the Wesak full moon. And again, I shared more information about that, but the Wesak full moon is the combination of the energy of Christ and the energy of Buddha. In other words, the power of resurrection or restoration and the power of enlightenment were coming in together at the Wesak full moon. Then the moon moves away, out of the way. The very next day, a pulse comes in from outside of our solar system in that direction. And so the energy of the pulse came from the same place that the moon was sitting at the time of the Wesak full moon. So again, very powerful energies coming in, not just from our solar system, but from outside our solar system. And then we got that aspect going on with Venus and Uranus right opposite to that pulse. So the power of love is coming from within the solar system. The power of love is coming in from outside the solar system. So we're getting an impulse of love from all around, from inside and from outside. So again, very powerful and positive. Now the other thing that is important to recognize about what's going on too is that basically, this is the sun side of the chart. This is the moon side of the chart. But what you should look at is each of these planets over here is in a retrograde phase. And at this point, at the point of the pulse, Jupiter, Mars, Saturn, and Pluto are all retrograde. And that's a opportunity to redo, to reset, to re-examine. So there's important aspects to all these planets going retrograde. And at this time, Mercury has also gone retrograde. So there is an impulse of re-examine, redo, reenact, all of these aspects. So in other words, we can redo everything. At this point, every visible planet except Venus is retrograde. And Pluto's retrograde on top of that. But the point is, all the visible planets except Venus are retrograde. What does that mean, though? Venus is still moving forward. The power of love is still moving forward. Everything else is moving backwards. That is possibly an impulse just in itself. The power of love is so strong that everything else is moving back to get out of the way for love to come through. And so not only is it coming from inside our solar system, but it is also a pulse coming from outside our solar system. Again, a pulse strong enough to push back the solar wind and cancel out our electromagnetic field. So what we have seen here is that the pulse comes in to the Earth itself, not just all of us. I mean, we all are capable of receiving it. But because the electromagnetic field went down, the core of the Earth received this transmission. So it is still being put out from the core of the Earth. And it doesn't matter if you received it at the time that it came. You can receive it at any time from the Earth. So the point here is connecting back to the Earth. And to connect back to the Earth is just to celebrate nature, to join with the planet in the evolutionary process. But let's look again at these specific planets that are retrograde. Here we have Pluto. Pluto's the power of transformation. So we get another chance to be transformed. That's what retrogrades do. They give you another chance. And that's Pluto right here. Then we've got Saturn and Mars, like right next to each other there. Saturn and Mars are both retrograde. Saturn is the hard taskmaster, or better said, simply materialism. And Mars is the god of war. They're both retrograde in the face of the love coming from Venus, Uranus, and the Sun. So if war and materialism are retrograde, we get a chance to redo that as well. Think about that. If materialism went away, we'd have less reason for war in the first place. And if we didn't have all that money, we wouldn't have the money to make the weapons to wage the war. So anyway, war and materialism are moving backwards. It's time to redo both of those aspects. We get to redo the energy of Mars. We get to redo the energy of Saturn. So let's do abundance with Saturn. Let's do passion with Mars instead of war. We had it right in the 60s when we said make love, not war. This is the opportunity to play that out right now. Then we go all the way up here and we see Jupiter is also retrograde. And Jupiter represents religion. And so war, materialism, and religion are all retrograde in the face of Venus moving forward. Okay? So the power of love has the power to overcome war, the power to overcome materialism, and the power to overcome religion. Okay, and what would we get from Jupiter if we didn't have religion? We'd get expansion from our own connection to spirit. True spirituality would become available if it weren't for religion. So here we are looking at an opportunity playing out in the sky. We're not making this up. This isn't speculation. This is the way the planets are moving right now. And as I said, the power of Venus, the power of love, the power of beauty, is moving forward and all the other planets are moving backwards. Let's redo Mars, let's redo Saturn, let's redo Jupiter. And Pluto is the opportunity to make all those changes take effect, come into play. Pluto, again, transformation. So we get to redo it. And I wanted to let you know, because this is important to get out while the energy is still fresh. Okay, as I said, it's in the core of the earth. You can access it at any time. Just go for the love. Face fear with love. We'll transform this planet and leave a better world for ourselves and for our children. Stay tuned, because I've got more on the galactic perspective coming up in another video. Aloha.